Joe, what we have today is a guest in the studio, and we want to talk a little bit about something interesting that we happen to see. His name is Steve Clunn, and he has an electric car. Steve, welcome to the show.
Ah, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. And I happened to bump into Steve over at Big Apple's Pizza, and had this SUV, and everybody was looking at it. Matter of fact, the staff went out this morning to look at it, and it's an electric car, and you made it.
Yes, sir.
And how did you do that? How you take the existing vehicle, you take the gasoline engine out of it?
Yep, the gas engine and gas tank and everything related to the gas radiator, all that comes out. And we replace that with an electric motor. This is an 11-inch, 200-pound electric motor, and it runs on batteries. So we also put in 25 batteries and a speed controller, which works like your light dimmer in your house.
Wow. And you just plug it into the outlet, just a regular outlet in your house to charge it?
You can plug it into a 120 outlet or a 240 outlet. If you plug it into a 240, it's going to charge 3 times as fast. Can be charged in 3 hours to 8 hours, depending on your outlet.
And how fast does the car, what speeds will it get up to?
I don't know the top speed. I've had it up to about 70.
Whoa,
And,
that's good enough.
That's fast
speed
enough.
limit.
And how long can you go before you have to charge it again?
Well, the interesting thing about an electric car, which is quite different than a gas, is that the slower you go, the further it goes. Or, on the other hand, the faster you go, the less your distance. So the distance really is somewhere between 20 and 100 miles, depending on how you want to drive. If you're just cruising around the neighborhood and taking it slow, it's just like walking. You know, you can walk for miles, but when you run, you better have a good reason.
Now, Steve, you've been doing this, because I was amazed when I saw this, that you've been doing it for as long. You started doing this long before we got in this really serious recent gas crisis. Am I correct?
Well, when I started, it was a crisis then. That was on the first Gulf War. And I remember I was playing piano at a little restaurant and looking at the television, watching these $250,000 missiles being blasted off like fireworks, and thought, you know, it's all because of oil. And it really was at that time. The first one was Kuwait and everything else, and I thought if there's just some way I could get around, you know, do my little part. And that was when the adventure began. Little research, and now we have the internet, which is just full of electric car stuff. If you get on the internet and type in electric cars, you'll find out about this underground movement that's going on.
And what's the name of your car? Your company?
My company is, I have Grassroots Electric Cars and Green Shed Conversions.
And you're located right here in Fort Pierce.
Right behind the college.
Now, when I looked at that car, Joe, all those batteries, the batteries run from the length of the car, literally, and it's about 25. But how much does it cost to put one of these things together?
Well, a lot of it will depend on what you want it to do. And that's why when people say, oh, I want a 200-mile range, I got to ask them, do you really want a 200-mile range if you got to pay for all that extra distance? When the average driver uses his gas car 30 miles a day or less. So for the long trips, I recommend, you keep your gas car. One way of looking at this whole process is that over the next 100,000 miles, you're driving 90,000 of that 100 is going to be less than 30 miles. And the 10,000 is going to be for your long trips. So you have your electric car for the first 90, which saves you a lot of money when it's only $1 to charge it up. You've now saved over 90,000 miles. You've saved enough to pay for the electric conversion, which is going to be somewhere, well, the parts and things are about 8,000, and depending on how handy you are and how much help you need, it can vary anywhere from 10 to 20,000. Which I know up front that sounds like a lot of money, but start calculating how many gallons of gas you're going to use to go that 90,000. The other thing is at the end of the 90,000, your gas car now only has 10,000 on it.
Right.
So it's in great shape. And you've driven in your electric car is in great shape too, because electric motors are quite a bit different than gas motors. They just, you will just look at your clock on the wall. There's an electric motor, and if you talked about how many miles it went in a year, we'd be talking millions.
Wow. Now, what about tune-ups? Do you have to do a tune-up on that like you do on gasoline vehicles?
No, no tune-ups, no. All the stuff that's related to the engine is gone. The one thing, though, that you do have to do is you got to learn how to take care of your batteries. And you got to, there is a learning curve. It's just like going from a horse to a gas car at the time. You know, there was different things going on, and there is different things with the batteries.
So you're saving not only on gas, but you're also saving on maintenance to that engine, the tune-up. What about the transmission? Now, all of that still operates the same?
Actually, all that operates pretty much the same, except that it's stressed a little less. It doesn't have a gasoline engine that's hot with all that heat underneath it, you know, cooking the rubber seals and everything else. So,
in this economy, who would this car be for, Steve? I mean, you know, where would this fit in folks who are trying to think budget-minded? And I hear what you're saying. For those who travel less than 30 miles a day, this would be the premier way to go in this economy.
yes.
To save.
Yep, it
So
is.
describe a little bit about who is in the market and probably listening and don't know that this will be a great find for them.
Well, right now, I mean, even though all the numbers make sense, it's still that same thing of, well, it's an investment that pays in the future. Pays in the future in quite a few ways, not just in the money you're saving. I think the major thing about anybody driving an electric car right now is that they're showing the rest of the world that, yes, there is a possibility to do something different. Now, you got to remember, right now, we're in the beginning stages of all this, so anybody out driving an electric car is kind of like somebody flying a flying saucer. It's not going to be necessarily, it's not an electric car friendly world yet, but it's coming.
Well, I tell you, Ms. Steve, if someone wanted to get more information about the electric car that you produce here in Fort Pierce, give us that number. And for those of you who don't have paper and pencil, we're going to be on for a few more minutes. We'll go back to Steve again, but give us the telephone number if someone wanted to get in touch with you.
Sure, that's 772-961-0533.
Is it 971?
971. I'm sorry.
Okay, 971?
0533.
0533. All right, good. Now, where are you located here in Fort Pierce? What's your physical location?
We are on. Well, I'm working out of the back of my house, actually. So it's at the end of Pine View Drive off of Cortez.
Okay. Now, you know that's okay. You know, Bill Gates started in his garage.
Yeah. Well, we got to keep the rent down.
Well, that also holds the overhead and the cost of reproducing this down too, because you don't have to pass the cost of your facility operations over to your customers. Now, the vehicle that you have out there in the parking lot, it's an SUV. What type is that? A Chevrolet?
Now, that's a Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer.
And that one's going off to Hawaii. I'm finishing that up for a doctor in Hawaii. In general, pickup trucks are a very easy conversion. If I was somebody out there thinking about doing a conversion and wondering what vehicle to pick first, an S10 or a Ford Ranger are about the easiest one.
Why pick up over cars? Why they're easier, Steve?
Well, we take the bed off and we can get to all those batteries real simple. It's not packing stuff in so hard, and pickups are designed to handle the weight.
Good. Well, Steve, I tell you, we want to thank you for stopping by, sharing that good news.
It is good news.
With us, because God knows with the high cost of gasoline, it's good to know that somebody is out there. And who knows, Joe, we might look down the road one day and we have Steve Clunn, on some big national network, and we say, you know what? We gave him his first start right here on WRA 1400, awesome. Exposing the public to what he's doing with the electric car.
That'd be awesome. Steve, how can someone get in touch with you if they want more information?
Well, we have a website, and that's Grassroots, that's GRASSROOTSEB, which stands for electricvehicle.com. That's a good place to go on and see a lot of pictures of different cars and different parts, and there's a frequently asked questions section there.
Okay, and that number again is 772-971-0533.
0533.
0533. Well, Steve, I want to thank you and thank your